I am confident that we can end childhood hunger here in Montgomery County.
Montgomery County has a strategic plan to end childhood hunger, and it's projected to work.
We have an incredible foundation of organizations and individuals that are working in the food security space. And with that foundation and with some support and strategic planning, I am confident that we can end childhood hunger here in Montgomery County.
County Council President Gabe Albornoz and the Department of Health and Human Services requested the Montgomery County Food Council to serve as project manager for the creation of this special plan.
In Montgomery County, we have over 33,000 children who are at risk for hunger, and childhood hunger rates are double what they are for adults in our community, and Black and Brown children are 3 to 5 times more likely to have insufficient access to nutritious and culturally diverse foods. Ending childhood hunger is going to take a diverse set of approaches, and one of the key things that we can do is partner with our healthcare providers and with our food assistance community, as well as our local farms. We can address childhood hunger by working with those healthcare providers to expand food as medicine programs and increase access to nutrient-dense foods. We also can work with our food assistance providers through programs like the Farm to Food Bank program and source these local foods, which are more nutritious, have traveled less far, they have less of a footprint on our climate, but they also grow our local economy. Everybody has a role to play, both in the public and the private sector, in achieving this goal.
Welcome to our September Food Security Community Call.
Since July, more than 100 community stakeholders representing more than 75 different organizations participated in 12 strategic brainstorming groups to help find a solution to the issue at hand.
160,000 children in the state of Maryland, 40,000 of them right here in Montgomery County, are not sure where their next meal is going to come from.
Council President Albarn has been a tremendous partner throughout the entire pandemic. Obviously, as the former director of the Department of Recreations in the county, he was incredibly familiar with a lot of the work that we were doing early in the pandemic to keep people fed. Much of the feeding that we did was through our rec centers and similar type facilities. And so obviously he had a natural connections there. And that sort of led into really trying to institutionalize some of the experiences that we had during COVID and the lessons that we've learned through the Office of Food Systems Resilience. So he was an incredible advocate during the pandemic and obviously in ensuring that the office was going to continue after the pandemic was over.
In Montgomery County, we have the will and we have the resources, and we're taking a close look at the demographic and geographic factors that make it most likely for children to be at risk for hunger. And so we need to work with our healthcare providers, with our school partners, and that's a place where our children can get as many meals as 3 a day, as well as food that they can take home with them for the weekends, as well as developing culturally competent outreach mechanisms in our community to make sure we can connect children and their entire family to benefits like SNAP and WIC, so they can have the dignity of choice in shopping where they want, when they want, for what they want, and have access to those tools year-round and bring more federal dollars into our local food economy.
So one of the highlights of our work with the MoCo Food Council and with the County Council is that we have become better in touch with our local farmers. And one of the successes for us has been working with Tom Farquhar from Sandy Springs Farm.
This red kale is also really delicious, and people come back and say, I had no idea kale could taste like that.
Our division is responsible for planning, purchasing, developing menus, and then also serving all of the meals in our 210 schools.
So these will go through, they'll be sealed, and then we pack them in wraps, and then they'll be delivered on Monday.
Obviously, our passion and our prime function is that we feed students every day. One of the ways that this has helped the partnership with County Council is that it puts us all on the same page. It also helped us work with our community partners who pre-COVID and then during COVID were doing food distribution. We also worked with them so that we didn't want all of the resources to be located in one part of the county. We wanted it to be strategically placed throughout the county. And really, the County Council was able to provide us heat maps of where the greatest needs were, where the level of food insecurity was. So without that information, we would have only had our own internal food service data or MCPS data, which may not have been as clear. And it was certainly not as clear as it was from the County Council. And we also got support from them that through the aspect that they could support community partners with grants. They supported farmers with grants and making their ability to work with us.
Part of what we do with health and wellness centers is do a hunger vital signs. It's 2 questions that for any student that walks in or is seen by the nurse practitioner, we ask those 2 questions to determine whether they are food insecure. And as a part of that, the answers to those questions then lead to referrals either to food assistance providers, to other nonprofits who may be able to provide food and resources to the students and to their families. If they're hungry, they can't learn. And so keeping them in school, making sure that they're not hungry, making sure that they're healthy makes a big difference for their education.
And the brainstorming groups came up with about 13 preliminary recommendations, including
just better data and analysis so that organizations who are in this space can collaborate and share information regarding families and children and youth that are in crisis and in need, so that we are not duplicating services but expanding our reach of services. We also need to make sure that we are supporting organizations that are on the ground doing this work and making investments, especially in key geographic areas where we have had some challenges in reaching the community. The other recommendations are related to outreach and making sure that we truly meet the community where they are. And I think if we do all of those things, but also engage our partners at the federal level, we will be able to effectively end childhood hunger in our community.
overall, the plan outlines the current policy investment and programmatic landscape related to ending childhood hunger in Montgomery County. Accompanied by legislation, funding, program expansion, and actionable recommendations, this plan has metrics for success.
This is going to occur over several years, and it started with the development of the Office of Food Resiliency, and that group working with the Food Council and a number of our incredible community-based organizations and nonprofit organizations will continue this work collaboratively together and incrementally over the next 3 years, and in partnership with our public school system, make sure that no child goes hungry here in our community.
Jordan Lindsay, reporting in Rockville.